Now, I wasn't able to get an ST muffler, so I installed a GS muffler, and the heat shield on the ST has to use some adapters to mount to the GS muffler. So this is the adapter hardware that Kind supplied. There's a strap and a bolt and nut that hold the top of the heat shield, and then a bracket that will hold the bottom. Now the bracket will go over the top of the heat shield and around the muffler to secure it. And the bottom bracket mounts on the lower bracket for the muffler. So I have the top bracket mounted, but to get enough room to get my hands in to tighten up the bolt, I had to take the rear wheel off so I could get in there. So there's the lower bracket and the holes I drilled and the hardware that I used to install that bracket onto the bottom of the muffler heat shield. So this is the back of the right side battery cover, and these are the tabs that have a little cutout, and they're going to slide over the rubber grommet. And this tab actually is full, and a grommet gets inserted in it, and I'll show why that is in just a second. Now the front pin on the right side, that's where the grommet that's inserted fully into the tab slides. And then on the back, I put grommets on the little bars here and here, and those are the ones that I'll push the cover over. Now to make that a little easier, I put a little bit of silicone grease on these so it's simpler for them to slide and not so much stress on the tab. Now I start by inserting the grommet that's fully in the tab on this pin. There we go. Now you can see how the tab slides over the grommet, and there's my little piece of green garden wire wrapped around the frame, so if it should ever come off, I'm not going to lose the side cover. So the right side cover is installed, and I'll put the R80ST decal on it later. Now the left side cover is original, but the tabs had been broken. The little fingers on them had been broken, so I repaired them. I used Plast-Aid to build up the broken ears on the tabs, and I made a little template off one of the good tabs on the right side cover, and then traced that out on a file folder, kind of a thicker cardboard, and then attached one on each side of the existing tab, and then filled the gap in between with Plast-Aid to build up the ears that had broken off. So the left side battery cover mounts on a pin here, and then there's another pin back behind the heat shield. So I put that grommet on before I tightened up the heat shield, because otherwise I just couldn't get to it. Now the other thing that goes on is that the left side battery cover has an M5 screw that runs in through this tapped hole in the heat shield to secure the back end. Now there's another tapped hole on the bottom of the heat shield, so the two screws on the top and bottom secure the back end of the left battery cover to the heat shield. So even if the tabs fail, that heat shield's not going to fall off the bike. Now these are the M5 screws with flat washers that I'm going to use to secure the left battery cover to the heat shield. I'm going to use a little blue Loctite on them to make sure they don't vibrate loose. So the screw's installed, and the left battery cover's on, and I'll apply the decals to both sides. To apply the decal, I removed the paper backing and then attach it to the side cover with the other backing on top, and then pressed carefully on all the letter parts to get it to adhere. before I did that, I used an alcohol wipe to clean the surface so the decal will stick. Then I slowly peel the backing off and make sure everything's lined up correctly. And there you are. That's the decal for the left side. And there's the right side decal installed. So the side covers are installed.